I want to give a special shout out to all my patrons first. Thank you so much to my Bibliospren, Bibliohowlers, and my Bibliomancers. It means a lot to me that you give me your extra support for my passion and hobby. Hi everyone, Patek here. Welcome to today's video, and today's video will be SFF Spotlight episode 26. And you know what that means, right? The next SFF Spotlight after this one, the next episode will be the 1-year anniversary of SFF Spotlight. So yeah, I think that is an impressive. I can't believe that I've been doing this for almost a year. And to all of you who keep watching this series of videos on my channel, you are the reason why this series of videos still exists. And I just want to say thank you so much for that. This series of videos hasn't always been the easiest videos to make, but they're always worth it when there are people like you watching and appreciating them. Like always, if this is the first time you're watching this, SFF Spotlight is a series of videos where I highlight new book announcement, new cover reveals, new special edition, and new noteworthy release in the adult science fiction and fantasy genre. And usually each new episode will have about 20 new topics. Yes, there are plenty of new topics in adult science fiction and fantasy only. I'm not even talking about other genre. So yeah, let's get started immediately. And the first news of today's episode will go to The Silverblood Promise by James Logan. This is the first book in the Last Legacy series, and this is slated to be released next year on April 2024. If you follow me on Twitter, then I think you might have seen that I did the cover reveal and also the book announcement for this one on my Twitter account. And yes, it has been really hard keeping this to myself. If you're active on book Twitter or you pay attention to the acknowledgement section on many books published by Orbit Books, then you might have known about James Logan, because James Logan is the pseudonym of James Long. And James Long is the editor behind many amazing fantasy books published by Orbit Books, such as The Bloodsworn Saga by John Gwynne, and then The Empire of the Wolf by Richard Swan, or the Legacy Trilogy by Matthew Ward, and many more. So this book, The Silverblood Promise, such a cool title. This one is James Long's or James Logan's debut novel. And yeah, the cover art is done by Jeff Brown. I think the cover art looks absolutely stunning, and I am so looking forward to reading this as soon as possible. The beautiful cover art aside, James Long have mentioned to me that he hoped people will get the feeling of reading Mistborn or The Lies of Lok Lamora for the first time through reading his debut novel. And that sounds amazing to me. There is no pre-order link for this one yet, but if you want to know the details about this one, make sure to check out the link I mentioned in the description down below. And moving on to the next topic, I want to give a spotlight to a relatively new book. This is for Tribe of the Accord by Shaun Michael Stone. Tribe of the Accord is a fantasy book that takes inspiration from the Hunger Games, Clan of the Cave Bear, and She Who Remembers. The cover art reminded me of Horizon Zero Dawn, and this is a story loosely based on the Stone Age, which explores more than just hunting, gathering, and survival in a prehistoric setting. It's about the significance of belonging and building relationship in a tribe. The main protagonist develops from a naive young girl who only knows a life of solitude with her father into a mature young woman that must understand the importance of social dynamics and responsibility. I think it sounds like an interesting book, but on top of that, there is also a video game adaptation already confirmed for this book. And yeah, I think it is relatively rare for a fantasy novel to get a video game adaptation. So if you are into the Hunger Games, Clan of the Cave Bear, and probably Horizon Zero Dawn as well, make sure to take a look at Tribe of the Accord by Shaun Michael Stone. And moving on to the next one, this is a new book announcement for Devin Madson's newest trilogy, the Shattered Kingdom trilogy. Orbit recently announced plenty of new titles, but this one definitely captured my interest the most because I love Devin Madson's books. I love We Ride the Storm. I've read a lot of books by Devin Madson, except the last two books in the Reborn Empire series, which I will get to as soon as I can. But this news is exciting to me. Orbit Books have confirmed they will publish another trilogy by Devin Madson starting from next year. The title of the first book is Between Dragons and Their Wrath, and this will be another character-driven fantasy series. I definitely look forward to reading this, but before I get around to this one, here's me keeping my fingers crossed I will finish reading the Reborn Empire Quartet first. And for the last new book announcement in today's SFF Spotlight is for R.F. Kuang. HarperCollins have signed 2 more new books from R.F. Kuang, the author behind the Poppy War trilogy, Babel, and also the upcoming Yellow Face. And the first novel is a historical fiction that the publisher described as an epic multi-generational saga centered around a Chinese-American family that spans the decades from the Cultural Revolution to the Bush years. It explores the tensions between carving out an individual destiny and being buffeted by the tides of history. And the fantasy novel is a story of dusty archives, unreliable sources, and an unstable sense of history that looks at what happens if, in the process of uncovering archives and piecing together the truth, we might reach backwards, grasp the ghosts, and help them push history off its course. I'm a fan of R.F. Kuang's books, and I'm looking forward to reading these 2 new books from her. So that's it for the section for new book announcement. For the next one, before I move on to talking about new TV show and anime adaptation, I want to mention Rakuten Kobo Plus. So there are 3 categories. The first one is Kobo Plus Read. This one, where this is pretty much similar to Kindle Unlimited. You can read anything in their catalog for $8 per month. And then there is also Kobo Plus Listen. This one you can listen to any audiobooks in their catalog for $8 per month. And lastly, there's another section, and the last one is Kobo Plus Read and Listen. This is where you can listen or read any books in their catalog of ebooks and audiobooks for $10 per month. So if this sounds interesting to you, maybe you can check it out, because yeah, if you are someone who are not into Kindle Unlimited, this might work as a better alternative. Now moving on to the topic of TV show and anime adaptation, I have only one for each, and the first one is for TV show adaptation. This is for A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms by George R.R. Martin. Yeah, the TV show adaptation for A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, starting from the H Knight, have been confirmed. I've read this one, I really enjoyed it, and I think this will work nicely as a TV show adaptation. But well, from my experience, I have enjoyed watching Game of Thrones TV show, and also Fire and Blood or House of the Dragon TV show adaptation, and I think I will have a great time watching this one as well. I love A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. This might be the right time for me to reread this book again before the TV show adaptation comes out. But yeah, I'm excited to watch how HBO will adapt the book into their show. As for the anime adaptation, Lonely Castle in the Mirror by Mizuki Tsujimura, the trailer for this one, the anime trailer for this one is out now, and I think it looks beautiful. I haven't read the book yet, but I know many people praise this magical realism book. If the news regarding the TV show for A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is a sign for me to reread that book, well, this anime trailer is a sign for me to read A Lonely Castle in the Mirror for the first time. Hopefully I can do that soon. And now we move on to the next section. It is time to talk about new special edition. And because I just talked about anime, let's start with one news about a special manga. Berserk, it has been confirmed that the deluxe edition will be extended to 14 volumes. And the 14 volumes will contain volume 40 and 41 of Berserk, and also a Berserk guidebook. So this one will contain Kentaro Miura's final chapters before he passed away. And I have collected the Berserk Deluxe Edition up to volume 11. I will make sure to collect this one as well for future reread. And yeah, you can actually pre-order Berserk Deluxe Volume 14 now. And speaking of pre-order, the next topic is about Lightbringer by Chris Brown. So if you want to get this beautiful poster illustrated by Irina Kuzmina, well, apparently the only way you can get it is through buying a Lightbringer, the 6th book in the Red Rising saga, from Barnes & Noble. So this is in a way a Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. I do not know whether I will be able to get this one or not. It depends on the shipping fee. I think if it's too expensive, I will have to say pass on this one. But yeah, I look forward to reading Lightbringer as soon as I can. I'm in the middle of rereading the entire series in preparation for it. And yeah, I'm so excited. I think this is one of my most anticipated novel of the year. Maybe even my most anticipated. So once again, if you want to get this poster, make sure to pre-order Lightbringer from Barnes & Noble. And for the next special edition, this is an update on The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie Curious King edition. So Curious King yesterday just sent an email updating the status of their productions, and the first one goes to The Blade Itself. It actually made me happy seeing this update because I love looking at pictures like this. Seeing books or special editions being manufactured feels kinda satisfying. And you know what? The next episode, which will mark the first anniversary of SFF Spotlight, works kinda like a full circle because the first SFF Spotlight episode, I talk about The Blade Itself Curious King edition. So yeah, I think that's kind of pretty cool. But if you're someone like me who cannot wait to get your hands on this special edition, the special edition for the blade itself, well, Curious King has announced that the art will most likely be received in July, and hopefully the books will begin delivery this September. And other than that, Curious King has also announced that the production for the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin is proceeding smoothly. It will be on the heel of the blade itself. This one features a cover art and artwork by John Anthony Di Giovanni. If you want to know the details, make sure to check out the link I posted in the description down below. And for the next 2 special editions, these are announcements from Subterranean Press, and the first one is for the Matchship by Robin Hobb. So Subterranean Press have revealed the cover art to their edition of Matchship, their upcoming special edition of Matchship. And once again, the cover art is done by John Howe, and I think it looks beautiful. It will match the cover art for their Ship of Magic as well. I have no idea whether I will be able to secure a copy of this one or not. I do not think I can, because I do not own the Farshid Trilogy Subterranean Press edition. But well, this looks beautiful, and I look forward to seeing, because I cannot own it, I look forward to seeing the physical copies. And on top of that, Subterranean Press also recently announced their special edition for Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher. This one features a cover art done by John Jude Palenkar, and I heard plenty of great things about Nettle and Bone. I think this is supposedly a dark adult fairy tale, I think. But generally speaking, I think T. Kingfisher's books are very well received. I look forward to reading Nettle and Bone. And if you're a fan of this book, do know that there's a special edition published by Subterranean Press coming. And now, before we move on to the topic of cover reveals, let's talk about Kickstarter campaigns. Today, I have 3 Kickstarter campaigns to spotlight. And the first one goes to the Child of the Night Guild by Andy Peloquin. This is the first book in the Queen of Thieves, and this is connected to his Darkblade series. The Kickstarter page for this one is up now. The book will be signed. It will be fox leather with 4 stamp cover, bearing the sigils of all 7 houses of the Night Guild. It will be Smithsoon bound. It will contain spray edges and ribbon bookmark, and it will also features 5 to 10 custom character illustration, 2 full spread cityscape illustrations, a dust jacket featuring breathtaking art by Antti Hakosari. And the interior artists involved in this one will be Simon Zhang, Oli Boldador, and Darkstar Vampire. I haven't read this book yet, but this special edition is looking pretty stunning. I love the cover art so much. I think Antti Hakosari did such a great job on the cover art. I really need to get around to reading books by Andy Peloquin. I heard plenty of great things about his books, especially if you are someone who loves assassin and thieves in fantasy books. And the next spotlight is pretty much just a reminder that there is only 1 more week before the Kickstarter campaign for Legends and Latte enamel pin is over. This project is done in collaboration with Wraithmarked Creative, and I think the bookmark and also the enamel pins, all with artworks done by Christina Hassan, looks absolutely beautiful. So if you are a fan of Legends and Latte, like me, I know there are many of you, this is your chance to get yourself a beautiful enamel pin and also bookmark of Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. And the last Kickstarter campaign to spotlight today is again a reminder for the King Killing Queen by Shaun Spickman. This one, the Kickstarter campaign, is a smashing success. And also, I just want to say thank you to Shaun Spickman, because for once, the international shipping for the standard hardcover edition is quite affordable. So the international shipping fee is $30. And yeah, even though that sounds incredibly expensive, that is relatively affordable for international shipping fee for a special edition. And this special edition is looking pretty damn good, with the cover art by Magali Villeneuve and interior artwork by Donato Giancola, and so many more beautiful additional bonus. You definitely have to take a look into this Kickstarter campaign before it ends. So that's it for the section of special edition. Now let's move on to the topic of cover reveals. And in today's episode, we have seven beautiful new cover reveals to spotlight. And the first one goes to the UK cover art of Bookshops and Bonedust by Travis Baldree. This is the prequel novel to Legends and Lattes, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, this cover art is done by Leo Nichols. So yeah, this will match the UK cover art of the first book, Legends and Lattes. But personally speaking, I love the US cover art more, but I cannot complain. this looks beautiful as well. And also the book sounds super wholesome and cozy already. I think this will be another hit from Travis Baldree. And the next two cover reveals goes to The Desert Spear and The Daylight War by Peter V. Brett. So this one is a new cover art for the trade paperback edition with a cover art done by Dominic Broniak. Dominic Broniak has done a lot of amazing artwork and also cover art, I think, for the Demon Cycle series by Peter V. Brett, and this new cover art definitely looks better than the previous one. The new edition, the new trade paperback edition, will be released on November 7, 2023. So if you are a fan of the Demon Cycle by Peter V. Brett, this is your chance to upgrade your copies. And for the remaining 5 cover reveals, these are all for self-published edition, and trust me, they all look stunning. The first one is for the 9th volume, the 9th ebook volume of The Wandering Inn. The title of The Wandering Inn Volume 9 will be The Tears of Liscor, and the release date for this ebook edition is April 25th, 2023. So soon, really soon. But even though this one is titled Volume 9, this is actually on the web novel Part 3 of the 5th story arc, because The Wandering Inn is a massive series. It is more than 10 million words long now. Yeah, more than 10 million words long. It is triple the size of Malazan Book of the Fallen. So that's why there is a lot of division in the ebook edition that is released on Amazon Kindle. I mean, on Kindle, just Volume 9 actually consists of 1,600 pages. And in reality, Volume 7, 8, and 9 of The Wandering Inn that is released on Amazon Kindle is actually the entirety of the 5th story arc of the web novel of The Wandering Inn by Pirateaba. And just like always, the cover art is done by John Anthony Di Giovanni, and I think it just looks beautiful. I haven't read this series yet. I mean, this is a huge commitment. The Wandering Inn is a big commitment, but I've heard from many convincing comments that this is a worthy series. And my plan right now is, once I'm done with reading the web novel Mother of Learning and also Worm by Wildbow, my plan is to begin reading The Wandering Inn. So yeah, it might not be happening soon, but yeah, once again, I love the cover art to The Tears of Liscor by Pirateaba. And the next cover reveal to Spotlight is for Salt in the Wound by Benjamin Aeveryn. I think that's how to pronounce the name, sorry if I mispronounce. And this is the first book in the Rain Fallen series. The cover art is done by Hosame Kairane, and this is supposedly an apocalyptic fantasy. An apocalyptic fantasy filled with folklore moments and also magic whiskey and bloodshed over a fortune in the salt. There is something about this cover art that is just so appealing to me, and it feels kinda rare to see a cover art looking like this in adult fantasy right now. And I look forward to reading this. Hopefully the book will be as good as the cover art. And speaking of beautiful cover art, the next one is absolutely stunning. So this is a cover reveal for The Buzzard's Bowl by John Paladino. This is the second book in the Tragedy of Cadane series. This is the sequel to The Trials of Ashmount. Trials of the Ashmount is a grimdark fantasy debut. I haven't read that one yet, but I heard from plenty of reviews and comments that Trials of the Ashmount is a character-driven grimdark fantasy debut novel. And this book, Buzzard's Bowl, is the sequel to it. The cover art is done by the same artist as the first book, Dusan Markovic, and I think this cover art looks even better than the cover art to the first book, which already looks pretty good in the first place. This book, I haven't read Trials of the Ashmount yet, but the sequel, The Buzzard's Bowl, will be released on the 1st of June 2023, so within this year. We still have 2 more cover reveals to talk about today, and both of them features cover art done by Felix Ortiz. And the first one is for The Harbinger of Justice by Andrew Watson. And this is also a shout out to Andrew, because Andrew is actually a booktuber. So just like Philip Chase, this is another debut fantasy novel by another fellow booktuber. And The Harbinger of Justice is slated to be released on the 9th of June 2023, so about 2 months from now. And if you are a reviewer who are watching this right now, Andrew Watson has prepared a form to request an advance reading copy for The Harbinger of Justice. I will make sure to leave the link in the description down below. Based on the cover art and the premise, I have a feeling this will be a Middle East inspired epic fantasy novel. And for the next cover reveal with another artwork by Felix Ortiz, this is a new cover art for a debut novel by Anthony Mitchell, The Ember Child, which is the first book in the Tales of the God's Bane series. I haven't read anything by Anthony Mitchell yet. I think he's most well known for Wolf Eater, which is another book with a cover art by Felix Ortiz that takes place in the same world. But the Ember Child in particular, as you can probably guess from the cover art, is a Spartan or Greek-inspired epic fantasy novel. I think the cover art looks really good, and although I have no idea when, I hope to get around to this one someday. And the last cover reveal for today's episode will go to a manhwa, and this is for the 7th volume of Solo Leveling. Yeah. The cover art has been revealed by Ize Press, which is a branch of Yen Press, and I have actually finished reading the webtoon version of Solo Leveling. I think volume 7 will actually conclude the first season of Solo Leveling. So I think in total, there will be a total of probably about 14 or 15 volumes for the physical edition of Solo Leveling, not counting the spin-off. But this is one of my favorite manhwa series of all time, and I look forward to doing another reread of this manhwa series using a complete collection of the physical books someday. And now we arrive at the final section of today's SFF Spotlight episode, and it is to talk about new noteworthy release. I have 4 books to spotlight today, and the first one is for the standard edition of The Trash of the Emerald Sea. This is the mass market edition. This means that the first secret project novel by Brandon Sanderson is completely out now. I actually just got a copy of the UK edition, the UK hardback edition, and as Brandon Sanderson has mentioned, this one doesn't feature any interior artworks contained in the deluxe edition of the Dragonsteel edition. But the US edition published by Tor Books actually has the beautiful end paper and 1 interior artworks contained in the Dragonsteel edition. So if you are in a dilemma of choosing which one you want to get between the US or the UK, I will have to recommend the US edition just because it actually has the gorgeous end paper and also one of the fully colored interior artworks done by Howard Lyon. Believe me, they are beautiful, especially if you are looking at them in person. But if you don't mind not having them, well, personally, I think the UK cover art done by Sam Green actually looks better than the US cover art. But that's just my opinion. And the next noteworthy release is actually for the second secret project novel by Brandon Sanderson, The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England. The ebook edition is out now. The ebook edition that you can purchase right now is actually the deluxe Dragonsteel edition that I read. I read the ebook version of it as well. And the edition that you can purchase on Amazon right now is actually the same edition that I used to read. So yeah, it will have all the beautiful artworks done by Steve Argall, and believe me, they are beautiful. Steve Argall has done such an outstanding job on this secret project novel. And then the next noteworthy release will be for Untethered Sky by Fonda Lee. This is a standalone novella by Fonda Lee that I highly enjoyed reading, and it is a bit sad that I cannot own the physical copy of this one because the hardcover is just so expensive. But I love reading the novella. I think it is one of the best novella that I've come across, and because it is so good, I wish that it has become a full novel. For a one-off standalone novella, I think it is great, and I highly recommend it if you're looking for a great short read featuring a great animal companionship in your fantasy novella. And finally, the last noteworthy release and the last topic of today's video goes to The Bone Shard War by Andrea Stewart. This is the 3rd and final book in the Drowning Empire trilogy, and I am actually reading this right now. I expect to be finished with this one probably the day after tomorrow, hopefully the day after tomorrow, but I think I will have a great time reading this one because I really enjoyed The Bone Shard Daughter and also The Bone Shard Emperor. I have a really good feeling The Bone Shard War will be the best of the trilogy. Well, at least that's what I hope anyway. So yeah, that's it. That's the end of today's SFF Spotlight episode. Once again, I know there are so many topics, right? But again, that's the purpose of SFF Spotlight. It is to make sure you are caught up with the news that interests you the most in the adult science fiction and fantasy genre. Hopefully today's SFF Spotlight is proving useful for you, and as always, do let me know what you think about today's SFF Spotlight. Do let me know your thoughts about the news I spotlight today. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your support. Bye bye.